All right, we have Buccaneers, Redskins in kind of a crazy turnout of a game, especially considering it was two teams that don't have the best season so far this
Right.
year.
It was 24 nothing at the half.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay leading, or not the half, right before the half,
yeah.
late in the second quarter, and the Redskins managed to score right before the half ended. Um, but yeah, 24 nothing. Bigger lead than the Saints had on the Colts, and as you know, the Saints pulled out a victory, and Tampa couldn't hold it. Um, the Redskins had the biggest comeback they've ever had.
Ever
Uh,
franchise
oh,
history.
it was at a certain point that if you're sitting there watching the whole game, which obviously I wasn't, I'll call it later. But at 24 nothing, you're thinking, all right, Kirk Cousins might be getting benched. Like the Redskins probably trying to figure something else out. And then all of a sudden, I mean, he had gotten picked off too. Like he was not. They were just obviously it's 24 nothing. Shit ain't going right. Um, but then he scored, and then scored again, and scored. I mean, and they just Tampa only scored one more. They got 6 points, and they missed the extra point, I believe.
Yeah.
But which is what cost them the game. And the Redskins won. And then I don't know if you saw the video, but Kirk Cousins was like all fired up, and showed him like in the stadium afterwards, walking past some cameras. He's like, "You like that? You like that?" And then
I
you
don't
hear some
think I
guy.
did see. I saw him get like amped up on the side, but I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, and you hear some guy in the background answer back like, "Yeah, I like that." Like some fucking dude. like, and it was great.
Oh
And you
my
know what?
god.
There's been some talk about, oh, should you be so hyped? You came back, you're losing to this. You know what? Screw that. I can totally understand the adrenaline rush. Like
Yeah,
this
no
guy
kidding.
overcame, like in the middle of a game, no less, made adjustments and overcame the largest deficit the team has ever been in and won.
Yeah.
Maybe the season's not going to be great. Maybe they probably don't make the playoffs, whatever. But the dude kept his job, is how I see it.
Yeah.
At the very least, like he showed that he deserves to be the starter. Anyone, hey, being able to make adjustments on the fly is a very rare and great ability. Not many people can do it. Like not to get like too off topic, but like in the military, like generals that have that ability, that's like a big deal.
Hmm.
Like if you can make adjustments mid battle, quote unquote, which is basically what they were doing. They were mid battle in this game, and he's seen that it wasn't working, and they talked and worked it out, made adjustments on the fly, and came back and won the game. And that's a big deal. That's a rare talent. Maybe he doesn't have it in other places. Might never happen again. But shit, good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they won.
I think
Good job.
there's two kind of interesting like statistical points on this. Uh, I'm going off of memory here, so I'm sorry if I don't get this like exact on. But I think at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins was like 21 for 30 in accuracy, which is pretty damn good. So it
Right.
makes you wonder, what the hell was he on the field the first half? Because he
Yeah.
came out at the end of the game with like amazing accuracy
Well, obviously
for
Tampa Bay
attempts.
was dominating the possession in the first half.
Yeah.
They posted 24 points. So
Well, not only that, but just he must have just went like three and outs, and like
yeah,
most
they,
of
they
those were
didn't.
just run plays.
He didn't have a whole lot of attempts up until the comeback, and I mean, and like he had an interception, and just like I said, it was just all going bad for him,
Yeah.
obviously.
The other thing is, Mike Evans had the biggest game that he's had so far this season. Uh, really incredible, yardage and everything, and he still lose. And that I think that's the thing that Tampa Bay fans have been waiting for is that you have Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson's a great wide receiver too. Doug Martin last week had a really amazing game. You have these weapons, and it kind of makes you wonder: is Jameis Winston a flop because you're gonna lose games with these guys? That who are gonna help you out as your main weapons, and
I don't
you know,
I don't think you can blame this loss on him too much though. I mean, they did post 24 points. The
yeah,
defense
okay,
is
good
what
point.
ultimately caved.
Yeah. All right. That
But
you know what? That's a good point. That is a good point.
you
I
can't put some of the blame on him though, because at the same time, they did only score 6 more points the whole second half. So uh, I like what he said. Some people might not like it. You might take it the wrong way, and maybe he meant it. And I don't know. But Winston said, whether we win, whether we lose, I'm still going to be and play confident, and that's good because a lot of guys, you know, you have a bad game and it gets to their head, and then they just keep having bad games.
yeah.
So like, you lost, take it in stride, come out and do the same thing, and just keep trying to improve and don't worry about if you're losing or screwing up. Just try to learn from the mistakes and keep moving because a lot of these guys get their confidence shaken, and once you're your own worst enemy, a lot of times in that regard, I think a lot of these quarterbacks, once you're beaten right here, you're beat.
Oh, definitely.
So Tampa
It.
division rival to my favorite team, honestly, but and I said it before this year, this is not their year, and it's obviously not.
Yeah.
I mean, I know anything could happen at this point, but realistically, it's not going to be their year. But they definitely have some tools to work with,
Yeah.
and they blew a game that it's just one of them things, man. I don't know what else to say.
It.
You never want to be on the wrong side of a historic statistic,
Yeah.
and
It. I. I think before the season started, we made. I think this is off camera. We are made our own little predictions of who's gonna have probably the worst season this year, and
right,
I said Tampa Bay, and you said Washington, which is funny that these two teams came
they
out.
played.
Yeah, they played. I will say this.
I would say Houston now.
Well, that's what I was going to get at first and foremost. Is I don't think either one of these teams are going to have the worst season this year,
No,
realistically. And
they're probably going to be top 10 draft picks still.
yeah,
So,
but I will say one thing about Washington is that it's a weird thing because I do think that they are probably the weakest team amongst their division.
right.
But I don't think Washington is necessarily as bad of a team as what their record is showing.
I don't think they're as bad as the team as what everyone thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't even remember that I picked them to be the worst, but I can see why I would have. And yeah, they're not.
I
And
think it was almost easy to predict
right,
that Washington was going to be so bad because with Shanahan as their head coach, RG3 was supposed to be their franchise quarterback. It just looked like their whole team was just really crumbling.
they were
Um,
imploding. It
yeah,
just seemed just as bad as San Francisco, really.
yeah, and
Um,
this was a team that just looked like they were so in shambles that they were just gonna come out here and be like, we don't know what the hell we're gonna do, and they don't look that way. And I know it was a quote from Jameis Winston to say that despite winning or losing, I actually do like that quote. I don't. I think that's a great attitude to have. That it's like even if you lose, you're confident that we're still going to be winners at the and that is a tremendous attitude to have. And I think Washington still also has that attitude amongst themselves that they know that they have tools to work with, and they have been working with it, and they have been winning games. I mean, not they
right.
don't have a winning record as of right now, but they're winning games, and
Hey, I
they're
had them
not
dead in the
that.
water,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Like
the way
you
the
had them
NFC East has turned out, it's not. They're
right,
not dead in the water. So
and that's where the thing is like they're not even dead in the water amongst the division. I mean, hell, they could beat Philly, be one step
yeah,
above them. They could even beat maybe the Giants or the Cowboys.
They
I
could play
mean,
spoiler
yeah,
at the very least. As early as week one, I guess I was already getting ready to starting to change my tune because I distinctly remember watching the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins and the Redskins in week one,
mm,
and the Redskins they ended up losing, but they put up a lot better fight
yeah,
than I think anyone expected against the Dolphins, who, in retrospect, ended up having a rougher start than we thought. But they showed to be a tougher team than what anyone thought just in week one.
I think that's what
And
it comes down to is that they are still a tough team.
right,
They're not just an easy like, well, let's walk all over them this week, and they put up a fight, and you have to play exceptionally well because if you don't, you're gonna lose out on it, and that kind of, I think what happened to Tampa Bay this week is that I think Tampa Bay went into the locker room at halftime saying like, yeah, we got this, don't even worry about it, and no, you don't, you have to worry about it with Washington because they're really not that terrible of a team. They can come back.
well, they showed that, and I'm gonna do a little. I'm an SEC guy, LSU fan. I'm gonna do a little shout out to Steve Spurrier here and quote him and say there are no Vanderbilts in the NFL, and there are no guaranteed games, and the Redskins are proving that. They're proving that you can't just write a team off in the NFL as they're just gonna bottom out and lose because it is at such a high level and there's enough parity that they're not a pushover.
Yeah,
They might not be a great team, but they're not a pushover.
yeah.
Although on a side note, Missouri learned that sometimes even Vanderbilt's not Vanderbilt. But anyways,
Whoa, we're really,
hold on. We're talking about
yeah,
the NFL. If we
yeah.
start going into college football videos,
We
we
got.
might get some death threats. So let's not get too crazy on the college talk.
Oh, you know what? That's actually true. I wouldn't even think about it, especially when we talk about SEC shit. Yeah, we can get death threats depending on what we say. And I was gonna say, on top of that, if we're gonna start talking about college football, we gotta make a whole fucking separate channel at that point.
Eh, you just need to rebrand yourself. I'm good. All right.
I would, considering that now we're completely off topic. I think this is the best way to stop. So, you know what? Give us your opinion. Uh, Let us know. Leave a comment. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Leave us comments on there. And let's see how both of these teams emerge this coming up weeks and everything because they're definitely better than what we both expected. In the
Right.
beginning of the season.
Right.
So
They are. They are.
you know. All right, that's it. We're gonna stop. And